Is I Today we are going to be talking about Catch the Neck's own in-house journal. In case you are unfamiliar with it, it is called the Journal of Pedagogy and Creativity. If you go to the Catch the Next website, it is available under publications. You can see the Journal of Pedagogy and Creativity. We have this beautiful cover that we rolled out last issue, which was done by Liliana Wilson, who is a beautiful, beautiful artist. And so we were so glad that she was willing to do this for us. You can download the last issue that was put out, and then there's also the call for submissions that I'll be referencing today. I have put my PowerPoint in the chat as well as a Word version of this call for submissions, so that is available. Strongly suggest as I go through this, if you are considering writing for the journal, which I absolutely encourage everyone to do so, I want to draw your attention to the volume because you can at least see what some model articles are in terms of the kinds of things that we are looking for and the kind of work that we want to support. And so with that, I will go ahead and get started. So quick overview, I'll be talking about the overview of the journal, its scope, why we have a journal in the first place, the types of submissions, some general guidelines, and then what I hope will be a very persuasive argument to encourage everyone to consider submitting some sort of piece. We do have an array of pieces that can range from research articles to poetry. And so this is something that has been created as a space that is meant to support the work of Catch the Next and the incredible scholar practitioners who work within it. And so what it is, we started the journal several years ago, and it was something that was actually in response to what some of our faculty within the network were asking for. We come at this work with a sort of community of practice mindset. So we want to build teams on campuses, but to build a network of scholar practitioners, of incredible expert master teachers, folks who are just thinking about how to best serve students and all that amongst ourselves, amongst all of our partnering colleges. And beyond that, we do hope that the work that we do can inform practice, not just at our partnering colleges, but in community colleges and other institutions of higher ed around the nation, because I think that we are all fighting to really support the attainment and the dreams of underrepresented students, of first generation college students, for instance, of the students who find themselves on our campuses. And so with that, we hope that submissions will kind of serve two purposes. One, it's a way to discuss issues or to share ideas that are relevant to the work of Catch the Next, of the Ascender program, of the colleges that we partner with, as well as to even provide ideas for teaching, or even I think that the creative pieces can in some way become tools that you can incorporate into your own classes, whether or not, you're talking about genre with students or voice, or just trying to find creative pieces that may speak to your students and may spark their interest in writing. I think that the other thing about the journal is that it is an acknowledgement of the expertise that we have within our network. Something that has been critical to Catch the Next since its inception is on taking an approach where we hope that the faculty who come to us can feel that once they go through our training, go through our various programming events, professional development opportunities and all that, that they have the tools and feel empowered to share what they've learned along the way, what's gone right in terms of being able to try new things, and even what's gone wrong. I feel very strongly that instructors, particularly community college instructors, aren't really given the opportunity to hone their craft and discuss their craft, and to reflect on what they have learned along the way. And so we do hope that this journal provides that space to bring some of these discussions to the forefront, to spark conversation and things like that. So the journal submissions we hope are really, really broad and can encompass different roles. This can be someone who works in IR, who can be an author, an advisor, a faculty member, even students. If you want to bring students into this writing activity and to support them, we would be thrilled to see S&S students who are published authors in this outlet. So we do take very different kinds of submissions. For those of you who might read various journal outlets. Some of them that come to mind that might be of relevance to our partners might be Community College Journal of Research and Practice, Community College Review, Teaching English in the Two-Year College, etc. Usually scholarly journals may support a different types of submissions, and we certainly do that as well. So we have research articles, we offer spaces for scholarly essays, book reviews, creative works. You'll note in the call for papers, we even have places for say interviews or some multimedia pieces and etc. So, um, within this, we want you to know that the sky is really the limit, that the submissions that we tend to work with the most are going to be scholarly essays, book reviews, and creative works. But we absolutely don't want to box anyone in. So if you have an idea of something that you want to do that maybe doesn't fit neatly within these categories, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know that, and we can discuss how it may fit within this or how to make it fit if it's something that's a little bit outside the box that we want to make sure um, folks uh, folks can access and to get some great ideas out. So research article may follow the same type of format that is common in education journals in particular. So this would be many of the same journals that I just named: Community College Journal of Research and Practice, Community College Review, Teaching English in the Two-Year College, etc. So essentially, these formats tend to be rather formulaic, or there tend to be some pretty clear sections that you see in these articles, some sort of study context, a literature review, a theoretical framing if that is appropriate for the study, the research methods, so the steps that someone took for collecting data, analyzing that data, the presentation and the findings, and then the conclusions that were drawn within that. I realize that community colleges can vary widely in terms of what subscriptions are available through their libraries. So, and oftentimes what in other kinds of scholarly journals, research articles may often get put behind a paywall. So if you're ever curious or confused about what a research article might look like, please let me know. I'd be happy to bring up or to download and share a copy of a recent article that follows that format and then kind of gives an idea of what we're looking for, so that you have something that you can follow. If you're new to the publishing process, I always think that one of the best things that you can do is look at what previous work has been published in a venue, and then use that as a way to sort of craft your contribution. If you are doing any sort of research or collecting data, analyzing it, etc., we do want to ensure that you are following the proper IRB protocols as are put. Um, as are put forward by your college, et cetera, just making sure that any data that is collected has been collected in an ethical manner, that identities are concealed or anonymized, et cetera. I'm happy to help with that, and to connect you with the person on your campus who may be doing IRB or oversees the IRB process if you have any questions about that, or you can refer to them yourself just to make sure that any sort of data that you're using, again, is collected in a responsible, ethical manner. The general guidelines that we have for this type of research article is these might vary in length from anywhere to like 25 to 40 pages. That would include references, like some sort of reference list or reference page. We do want to make sure that any work that we have throughout this has some sort of direct relevance or connection to the work of Catch the Next. We want this to be a venue where anyone who works with Catch the Next or students, or us and their students, can feel like they understand why we have published this, why it's of relevance, and hopefully there are implications or conclusions that can give you food for thought to improve practice or delivery or whatever, in any sort of way that we serve our students. So a scholarly essay may be a discussion of research, of pedagogy, of students, of advising practices, of leadership practices, or just some other topic that might not explicitly discuss data or research that you have collected or conducted. So something like this could be a literature review, some sort of discussion of existing literature and how that connects to Catch the Next, or teaching, learning, advising, mentoring, leadership, support, whatever, however that looks like in community colleges. I think something that could be really, really fascinating and something that I would love to see would be, an essay where someone like an instructor or an advisor is really talking about a specific tool or describing some sort of intervention or method that they feel has been effective in teaching, reaching, supporting us and our students, or the delivery of the program itself. So, even if it is something like I'm a math instructor who has always struggled to teach students this particular topic, and thinking about cultural relevance and culturally sustaining pedagogy. This is how I change my practice, and this is how it seems to have really connected with students in my classroom, for instance. I would love to see that. I think that being able to have a description of lessons, and how those lessons, how a certain teaching tool has been implemented, or technology. There's so many conversations right now that are around like AI. Maybe you have discovered a great way to incorporate or to talk to students about ChatGPT or something like that. If you do, please share that out. I think would be of interest to so many people within our network. Um, and just to bring that to the forefront, to keep ideas fresh, and to just keep that learning process going. The max length, I left it here, 25 to 40 pages, so no more than about 10,000 words. The assumption here is, depending on what the focus is of the scholarly essay, it could probably be much, much shorter. So maybe closer to like 10 pages or something like that. You do not have to feel intimidated by this and feel like, if I don't have a 40-page paper with 8 pages of references, that it's not rigorous. That's not it at all. Again, this is to say, you can use as little space, or really, 40-page manuscript is a lot, as little or as much space as you need to take. One thing that's nice is that since we're an online journal, we don't really have like strict page maximums that we have to adhere to. We do have some wiggle room within that. Again, just like a personal preference, something that I would love to see. I would love to read reflections about how folks are implementing things in their classroom that are creative or innovative, or just the sorts of practices that help keep students engaged, that keep them excited about the course content, and things like that. I think that that would be wonderful. Book reviews. So this would be a discussion of, oh, that point up above is not relevant. That was copied from the last one. Sorry. A book review is just that. It is a review of a book. This can be something that is fiction or nonfiction. And you would provide the review for a Catch the Next audience. And so typically what that format follows, this might be a 4 to 8 page review where you provide sort of an overview of the book and what it's about, maybe who the author is, an overview of each chapter or parts of the book, just depending on how the book is organized and whatnot. And then you provide your own evaluation of the book. I think something that is always really helpful is to know, like, how do you want folks to use this book? Who do you think would be a good audience? I think that throughout the many years that I've been involved with Catch the Next, there's been a thirst, especially among our INRW and our composition instructors, to share ideas, um to share ideas about uh what kind of fictional works might be really useful for students, and if these are appropriate level reading level for college students, for INRW students, if it brings up culturally relevant topics that might be really useful to students, etc. So for fictional works, it might just be, this is a really wonderful book, etc. This might be something that is of use or gets you thinking about students in our class or whatever. For nonfiction books, I think that I have a list of books that might be really great to review. For example, Gina Garcia, who is one of the foremost scholars on Hispanic serving institutions, for instance, has recently published several books on HSIs that might be relevant. I contributed a book review to our last issue that was on Liza Toulousen's The Identity Conscious Educator, which was on building an identity conscious knowledge base for folks so that we can be validating to students, so we can understand the diversity of students in terms of race, ethnicity, class, gender, disability status, etc., and how we can be attuned to those and we can be inclusive interactions with students and innovative in that. There's always lots of great books that come out about leadership philosophies, about emergent pedagogies, about technology, etc. And so, you might find a book that you think, this is a book that every community college educator should be reading right now, etc. And so if you have something like that you just feel very strongly that you do want to share, I hope you will. Just know that you don't have to buy the book. Like, if it is an academic press, for instance, there are ways that I can, for example, reach out to an academic press and say, hi, I am the editor of a journal that we have in-house with an organization called Catch the Next, etc. We have a network of community college educators in Texas. We would love to review this book. Oftentimes, academic presses will provide complimentary copies of that book to their to folks who want to review it, because that does end up being free publicity for them. And so please know that unless you already have the book or you have it in your library or something like that, academic publishers can those books can cost an extortionate amount of money. We don't want you spending your own money necessarily. But if you have questions, I have some books that have come out recently that I think would fit really, really well. I did include them in the Word document in the call for papers. Those are just some ideas. If you have other ideas, I think that would be great. As is typical with other journals, I do have a preference that the book has been published in the last couple of years. We want that, especially for nonfiction books that maybe focus on teaching and learning practices or things like that. We do want to make sure that the information that is presented in them is relevant to the now. There might be exceptions to that. For instance, we had a book review in our last issue that was on a book called Quixote Soldiers by David Montejano. That is a historical book. And so, with that, the wiggle room with the publication date might be, might not be as relevant to the content. And then our creative works. This is just as it sounds. It's creative pieces. We have published short stories and poems in various lengths and formats. Why we decided to include those when we founded the journal is, I think, one, we do have instructors throughout our colleges who are published authors, published poets. They may be very active in their communities, in the creative communities that are there. I lived in San Antonio for many years, and there are many just beautiful artists and writers and poets who are very, very active within the community there. And so we want to be able to support the folks who are doing creative works. And then also these may be pieces that are really great to incorporate in your teaching. The PDF copy of the past issue is freely available to you on the website, so that can be something that you can very easily incorporate if you want to show students like how poetry types may vary, or how you incorporate words from different languages into poetry and weave it with English, or just what have you, like how ideas can be conveyed in beautiful ways, like beyond formalized academic writing. The length and format of that can vary. For short stories, if you are interested in submitting something, I suggest that you reach out to Dr. Rafael Castillo. He's one of our English professors at Palo Alto College. He also serves as one of the co-editors for the Journal of Pedagogy and Creativity. And then for poems, please submit those to Fernando Esteban Flores. He is the poetry editor for our journal. And so their email addresses are there. Other formats that we want to be open to, and just to draw your attention to that. For instance, we're very interested in interviews, for instance. So if you have access or the ability to interview someone who you think may be of interest to the Catch the Next audience, if you are able to get their consent to record and to publish the interview, I can work with you on that in getting that proper consent and everything like that. And I can help in terms of writing interview questions or helping you plan for the interview, et cetera. But some of the people who you may consider interviewing might be administrators, faculty, policymakers, researchers, leaders. It might be folks in the community. It might be students. Again, like this is not meant to box you in. It's mainly just to give you ideas for what sort of possibilities we are interested in publishing. And this could be a really great way to get students involved as well. So, throughout all of these format types, we do think that if there are ways that you want to get students involved, that if you are able to do so, you can let us know that. The length and format can vary. As far as printed transcripts go and everything like that, I can tell you that when you get something transcribed, a 5 minute discussion can print out to like 8 pages depending on how it's formatted and stuff like that. So I would say with these interviews, they might be relatively brief interviews, or if you are doing a longer interview, we might edit it or revise it to cut it down for clarity and brevity if needed. That's something that we would figure out once it's done. But we can transcribe the parts of the interview that are most relevant, most interesting, and then for the person who has done the interview, we may ask you to write some sort of introduction or reflection of why it's important, why what the motivation was behind doing the interview, and then subsequently publishing it. And then just some sort of general guidelines like across all of these various publication types that I've talked about. If you have ideas, if you're sitting on something that you think might work for the journal, or something that is something that you would like to pursue, then please contact me, or if it's a short story, Rafael, if it's a poem, Fernando, to discuss the ideas. You don't have to like wait to write something and wait for it, or invest all of your time in creating a complete product only to find out that it's not something that meets our scope or anything like that. Like, we can work through it. We can make sure that it is something that'll work, that is something in line with the scope and the audience of the journal. If you are using any sort of citation format or references, those might be particularly relevant to folks who might be doing scholarly essays or a research article. You should follow Chicago citation style and the references throughout. There will be a revision process for those. So what we will ask is that the submitters email drafts of their articles either to me or to the appropriate journal editor by May 1st. We will read your article and we will provide very constructive feedback on it, and you will likely be asked to make some sort of revisions. A lot of those might just be for clarity, for making sure that we understand your argument or what the purpose is of a piece, etc. Oftentimes, Raphael, being the consummate English instructor that he is, will also provide copy edits to those. He may provide one-on-one coaching for writing style, etc. And he usually does that in a very constructive, developmental way with you. And so what we are shooting for is that we can hopefully get something published maybe by the end of the summer. I know that May 1st, everybody may be thinking, Erin, like that's the end of the semester. We're getting ready to head into finals and grading and stuff like that. If you are thinking, I am very interested, I just don't know if a May 1st deadline is feasible for me, please let me know that, and we can work with you and be flexible with that. I just figured what I was hoping more than anything with that May 1st deadline is that I could at least get on folks' radars before people may go off contract and maybe out of communication for the summer. And so that was the reasoning behind that. We have a lot of flexibility with those. We just want to make sure that folks don't forget about us and then like pop back up after we put together a journal article or a journal volume and say, I want to contribute. We're like, too late, please hold it for a year or for 6 months or what have you. Some things I want to make sure that you know, oftentimes college writing has sort of stamped out folks' desire or belief in using first person language, and throughout all of these different things like research articles, scholarly essays, book reviews, I want you to know that you can absolutely use first person language and talk about, I read Gina Garcia's, most recent book, and I thought that it was incredible, or I thought, et cetera. I just want to make sure that you know that as an author in this article, we do want you and your voice to be very present in it, knowing that you are sharing your perspective. Formal academic style of writing. I think that that is something that in particular Raphael can absolutely help with. If it's been a while since you've written in that style, for instance, there's a lot of help, there's a lot of support. Raphael and I are there to help make this a good and a positive process for you, with the end goal of having some of your work published. And other things that I want to throw out there is that the collaboration is absolutely encouraged. We would love to see pieces that are co-authored between faculty and students, or faculty and advisors, faculty and institutional researchers, um, faculty and administrators, administrators and advisors, like whoever. If there is any sort of opportunity for cross-germination across campuses, like we have multiple Dallas College campuses, multiple Austin Community College campuses, or even if a Dallas instructor wants to collaborate with a South Texas instructor, all of that would be absolutely amazing. And so, just know that we don't necessarily expect folks to work by themselves and to feel very siloed or very isolated in this process. Oh, that's not supposed to be. There we go. Okay, so why should I submit? Overall, I just want you to know that you have something to contribute to the journal, something that it could be an idea, a perspective, a review of a book, just what have you. We feel like this is a really great way to build community, to share perspectives across the colleges, and to inform the work of our organization, and to highlight the incredible work that is going on here within our various colleges. But some things that I also just want to highlight before I open it up for questions is, like, one, an acknowledgement that writing can be an incredibly vulnerable thing to do. And so as I say, like, I really encourage you to, to submit something that highlights your work or your perspective and stuff like that. I realize that I may not know all of you. You may not know me. You are trusting me with your work. And I want you to know that we are absolutely committed to not being jerks in the process, basically. There's a whole, like, trope on social media about reviewer two, for instance. It's that reviewer who gets your work, who just rips it apart and has nothing constructive to say, and can just really go for the jugular and tear you down and things like that. I have experienced it. I know that Raphael and Fernando have absolutely experienced rejection and folks who have been really, really rude in the process. And so I want you to know that, like, we three are absolutely committed to making this a positive experience for you. So there will be support in that process. The whole reason why I put together this webinar is to try to demystify some of that process, and to hopefully bring transparency and to alleviate fears about that process, and to hopefully feel like that this is an environment of support. For those faculty and advisors who are pursuing the credit through UT Austin, that going through the Catch the Next professional development sequence provides, I do want to highlight that oftentimes y'all are already doing reflective activities, engaging in reflective activities that I hope can be easily revised and or expanded for the journal. So this may be taking writing that you've actually already done and just revising it a bit, and sharing it out to a wider audience. So please know that any sort of reflections that you've already written about the program or the experience of moving through our professional development, those make perfect essays, perfect scholarly essays for us. And so, please know that you can absolutely use those. I think that overall, this can also be something that you can share with students about what you've learned about them, working with them. I think that um, oftentimes we hear faculty members who are going through graduate programs themselves, who are sharing with their students what their experience has been as students, and we hope that this could just also be a way, if you have students who are struggling with writing, you can say like, maybe I am too, or maybe I am putting myself out there in this other way, or I'm trying to stretch my muscles, or stretch my own previous experience and get something new out of this, and just create that bridge with students where they recognize, like, as faculty, what it's like to put yourselves out there and how daunting that can be. And so hopefully that can demonstrate some sort of authentic empathy for them. And then just a way to share your expertise. We have had faculty and advisors who may be graduate students who were doing great work in their graduate programs and thinking about the ways that the research that they're doing, or the research that they're reading, is directly applicable to the work of Catch the Next and the work of Ascended. And so in that case, I really encourage you to think about what might be work that you're already doing, or questions that you have, or what have you, that you can share your expertise, or what that journey has been in developing that expertise. I think that would be incredible as well. So I'm going to stop and ask if we have any questions. Just once again, highlight that the submission deadline will be May the 1st, that we hope that we can get feedback to folks relatively quickly, that we can turn that around and maybe get our next issue out sometime during the summer. If you have any questions, you can absolutely talk to me. I can hang out. My email address is there, but otherwise, I hope that we will fill the next issue with tons of amazing work. For those of you who may have come in after I share this, I'm going to go ahead and drop my PowerPoint presentation in the chat again, as well as the Word document to the call for submissions. And then I will reshare where on the Catch the Next website the last journal volume is. So are there any questions? Yvette, did you have a question, or are you just giving me a thumbs up?
I'm just giving you thumbs up. That was an
Okay.
amazing presentation.
Okay.
Bravo. And then, did you on that PD file that you had, or is that something like that table of contents that we can look at later?
Oh yeah, so it is actually so that is the link to the full journal, our last volume of the journal. And so if you look at that and scroll down, you should be able to access the scholarly essays that we published. We had like 5 or 6 different book reviews, and then a lot of different poetry pieces
Mhm.
throughout. What I always think is really helpful, and this is something I do to this day, it was something that I learned in graduate school, is that, like, if you are thinking about writing for publication and you have a venue in mind of where you want to submit, I think it's really, really helpful to go to that journal and just look at some of the work that's been published there to get an idea of how to structure things or get a sense of what work is important to them, the style, the writing style, just sort of how things look and how that can help you adhere to what the expectations are of that venue.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Chavez, is there anything that you wanted to add or anything that I forgot?
You did an excellent job. I really can't think of anything that you left out. I just hope that people feel comfortable enough to submit an article if they're thinking that this is something that they want to do. I noticed from the participants that there are people with us that have published books before, and we ask you to maybe consider an article rather than a book at the moment. And I know someone within the group is doing really fascinating work with teaching English in Pulp Fiction or Marvel figures or something to that effect. That is turning out to be an excellent method to reach students. I know his scores were really outstanding for the last academic year. And sometimes it's nice to be able to share your strategies with others so that they can benefit as well. So in a way, you're doing something for yourself, but you're also doing a service to others that may learn from you. It is all in the spirit of our community of practice, like you stated at the beginning. And ideally, people have an understanding for the need for work that targets students that oftentimes face difficulties, whether it would be academic and or personal. So any kind of work related to how we can improve that work would be ideal. So, thank you. And I was going to say, we do have a variety of events schedule that you can go to our website under events and you can see that if you attend, you'll get a sense of our work and you would get a better sense of what we're about and what we're trying to do if you're not familiar with the organization. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I added the link to our events page so that you can see that. And if you are not aware, please know that our spring seminar will be coming up, and I believe you can still register for that. It will be down in South Texas. And Tian Hong, I see you have a question.
Yes. Hi, my name is Tian Han Shi. I'm a senior instructional designer at Oregon State University. My question is, three other colleagues and I did a literature review on lecture video, instructor presence in lecture videos. There was a change of practice we have in our office based on the literature review we conducted. But we kind of have it published as a blog on our school's blog site. So could we still submit?
Yeah, there might be some revision to go through, but yes, we would absolutely be open to that. And what we would probably do is just acknowledge somewhere in that text that it had been previously published as a blog post, and you could link it to the website, etc.
Okay. So the Word document you have, so you have like an essay, book review. Personally, I've been working with like a motivation, like how to motivate students at college level. it's not like one specific course, it's several different courses, an engineering course, a business course, and there was another, like two business course, one engineering course, but it's all related to motivation. So it will be like we have a problem, and this is what the faculty developer and I, as a team, we worked on it, and we had the solution, and media team helped, and then we have this final product that we delivered into the classroom of the online teaching, something like that. Would
Oh.
that be something that you would be interested in?
Likely yes. What we would probably just say is to since at this point we don't necessarily have engineering or business courses incorporated into our particular program. And so I mean, you could absolutely describe engineering and business context, and then if you are able to broaden out any recommendations that you make so that it is relevant to folks who might be teaching English or developmental math or history, ethnic studies, government, etc. So I mean, we are interdisciplinary in terms of the program that we offer and the faculty that we work with. It would just be really good if you could speak broadly across content areas and not just within like engineering or business.
Right. I was going to add that currently we have two club subsidiaries of our Ascender Club for Girls Discovering Math as a pathway to STEM. And I noticed that she mentioned that her work is about motivation. So I'm thinking that with regards to how the article could maybe focus on how do we motivate those that are not in those professions now to possibly consider them. I do know that we have one of our math teachers present that had wanted to do some articles on more advanced math or calculus and the like. And really those courses are limiting certain populations. Not having those courses is limiting them to access professions that are really paying much more so than others. So I'm thinking more as from a career exploration, career pathways, or motivation towards considering those that would be aligned to the work that we're doing in the Valley and in Dallas with regards to getting students to think of STEM. So within that context, maybe.
Are there any other questions? All righty. Well, I just want to remind everyone that we will not have a March webinar just because of the spring seminar that we have combined with spring break and everything like that. So we will reconvene in April where Dr. Stacy Ibarra will provide a discussion about the use of AI and the sort of implications of AI and those conversations that are going on for higher education. We will also have later on in the semester in May, we will have a community college researcher who will talk about how to best support students with autism. And so, or who have autism spectrum disorders, I should say. And so we have some very interesting webinars that will be going on later on in the semester. So we will hopefully catch you in South Texas for our in-person seminar. And if not, we will catch back up with you in April for our next webinar. So thank you very much for attending. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or curiosities, please let me know. And I look forward to hopefully receiving submissions from you for our next journal issue.
Great. Thank you. Great job. Bye.